Shalom, when instead of source but giving no praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahshua, Ba'Shem Kodash, double honors the apostle, great most, and honors you brothers doing the work of the most High in truth, then sincerity. Yahweh's real name, with whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah or Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. His son's true name is Yahweh Shai, and when we pray Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, meaning in, meaning down, Shai meaning names, Yahweh, the name of Yahweh Shai. This one is inspired. Basically, I've been wanting to touch on this for a little while, but there's so many different angles, that you can kind of look at this particular issue from, right? E is basically got like an all-out attack on life, okay? Whether it's by pushing these these contraceptives, or by baby deletions or whatever, or have you, or by pushing the alphabet agenda, right? Or by the carcinogens and the poisons that's in the food, right? One study was that I remember coming across, basically saying that men have a lot less testosterone now than they did before. Okay. And then you look at the kind of lives that E has basically set up, that men nowadays live, right? It's no surprise why that ends up being the case. Okay, but everything about this man is is anti-life. And you know what, my favorite, we can start there, right? One of my favorites, Habakkuk 2:5, which is because it describes this man to a T, right? If not where and who is he, man? Who else could this be talking about? So this is Habakkuk 2:5. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, right? So what this man does is he comes with all of these different policies of death, right? He'll speak to you as if they're great for you, right? But really they are, the things that he pushes are things that just, are gonna lead to your destruction. This is Psalms 55:21. I said, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Yeah, your body, your choice, right? On the surface of it, it sounds like, yeah, man, why shouldn't I be able to do what I want, right? That's how Esau gets these people, right? But these times, if you wanted to, which to be fair, he's even allowing that now. If you wanted to like chop off your arm and you got a functioning arm, right? They'll be like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? Okay, for instance, certain countries you can't, euthanize yourself. You go and kill yourself, right? But your body, your choice, right? Okay, but once again, that's the witchcraft that Esau comes in. Same with the and that's where ultimately all of this goes back to, right? That Gardinian pact, Eve and the serpent, right? And then Esau has basically pushed that ideology on, ultimately on all of the different nations, right? Some nations resisted for longer than others, right? But one, as we read in the previous precept, right, that this man is, he enlargeth his desires hell, right? He just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing till he gets what it is that he wants. But let's read that again, right? Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay, so basically, once again, he's pushing, come to you, with soft words, but really, right, he's got aims to destroy you. Okay, so let's carry on, right? So because one of the reasons this even came to mind as a video topic is it's been loads of, I'll say loads, but I've seen a number of people on the women online basically saying as soon as they stopped, taking, the pill, right? They lost weight, right? They felt they didn't feel suicidal, or they didn't what do you call it? They didn't what's the word, man? They did, their depression lowered, right? Because ultimately this man will come around and he pretends like he knows what he's talking about when it comes to these hormones. He pretends like he knows what he's talking about, right? And in fact, maybe he does, but what he pushes into the actual world, right, is things that are against your hormones. Okay, but then guess what? He can sell you what do you call it? He can sell you a pill to get over your depression whilst giving you a pill that's giving you depression. But in fact, I'll leave this one here, for the time being, actually, because honestly, we've got a lot of different things, right? But so one of the things that was very important for this pill is it allowed the woman to go into the workplace, very much so, right? It allowed her to have pleasure and then go into the workplace. Okay. So Jeremiah 31:22 says, how long will thou go about with thy backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man. Right? And once again, that pact in the garden. Okay, because here, what was the curse of the Most High gave? That the woman's should be, her desire should be to her husband, right? And that's a curse. I mean, really, it's a blessing because these women are stupid as hell. But the thing that was said by Yahweh Shem Shai was basically like, look, man, your desire shall be toward your husband. Okay, but what has Esau done by way of these different policies, by way of feminism, by way of this pill, right, is giving women abilities to circumvent the authority of a man, right? You read 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, it speaks about the hierarchy, right? It speaks about how you've got, the man, rather, the heavenly order, right, where the man is at the top, rather, Salakia, the man is above the woman. It's Yahweh at the top, then Yahweh Shai, then the man, then the woman. Okay. Yeah, but once again, yeah, that pill was a really important part of that. Once again, because it allowed the woman to leave home, right, and to go into the workplace, right, and be able to do all of the manners of witchcraft and wickedness that she does in the workplace, right? The whole concept of a work husband, work wife, right? I've witnessed it, man, where you have a woman in a relationship and she's just with next man all damn day. Okay, when you look at this history, right, this is the history of the pill, right? I mean, it goes back quite a bit, but I'll just jump straight to the point, right? It says 1960. It's the first oral contraceptive Enovate, a mix of the hormones progesterone and estrogen, is approved by the US FDA, right? It quickly became known as the pill, right? And I'm not a biologist, but when I was reading into these, right, and its effects, let's just say there's a reason why women behave the way they behave when they're on these things, right? So I'm not going to speak on it because it's you're getting into a realm that I don't fully understand, right? But you can do your own research, right? And 1965, the Supreme Court rules in Griswold versus Connecticut that married couples have a constitutional right to privacy that includes the right to use birth control. However, millions of unmarried women are still denied birth control, right? And it started the same way in the UK as well, right? Similar time periods, right? It also makes me think about how in Japan, for example, abortion is legal. However, a woman needs the consent of her husband, right? But you can imagine that soon enough that will also change, such that such like you see here, it starts off being this is just for couples that don't want to, and that's how this man works, right? By gradualism, okay. By gradualism, once again, it comes with those smooth words, right? Those soft words, right? But war is in his heart because he knew that the ultimate wasn't for families that are too large and are struggling to survive. So give them the option to not, to stop having children, okay? But then guess what? It then gets pushed onto the wider public as a lifestyle choice, okay? That's what it says. 1916, the FDA approves intrauterine devices, bringing early versions called blah, 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 blah. Within a few years, more than 10% of women are using the IUD. 1969 lays out testimony and research showing that high doses of estrogen in the early pill put women at risk of blood clots, heart attacks, strokes, and cancer. Because once again, this man doesn't he either doesn't know what the hell he's doing or he knows exactly what he's doing, right? Which ultimately is the same thing, right? It ends up in death. Okay. So I'm trying to see. Should have read more of this, to be fair. The pill genocide or liberation calls attention to race and gender controversies. The Indian Health sterilizes thousands of Native American women, right? And that's ultimately what is happening, Okay, that's ultimately what is happening in these, by using these different things. Once again, you've got so many different avenues which ultimately are resulting in lower birth rate, resulting in death. Okay, um, so I mean, our Lord's will remember, and I'll put this in the thing. But once again, all of the reason why I find this interesting once again is this, in this time period, 1960s, 1970s, right, around about that, a whole load of things were happening in the world, right, and the change of society, right, and that links up with the precepts. This is Obadiah 1 from 4. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. And who's that talking about? It's talking about this Edomite. Okay, that's his symbol. It says, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, right, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Right. So in 1969, that's basically what this man did. With his different space missions. Okay, allegedly landing on the moon. But what then also started happening around about time 1970, you've got the 3.5 days that were fulfilled, right, spoken of in Revelation, right, and then you also had this, which was ultimately when this truth really started coming up more and more. Of course, we understand that Elder Abba Bivens was out before then, right, but then a whole load of social decay started happening in the world. Right, 1972 Roe v. Wade, 1964 was the beginning of second wave feminism. Around 1970 something, you had Stonewall. Okay, so all of these things once again, all in the direction and agenda of of this man going down. Okay, so back to the whole thing about that, of that, what's the word, of those smooth words. In fact, I want to start off with this one, right? So what are the benefits? Okay, it says the pill is an effective way to prevent pregnancy. Okay, so if you follow instruction, that's ultimately what Esau wants, right? He wants to prevent pregnancy. Right, he'll come and he'll speak about it as if to say this is this is for your benefit, but really it's for Esau's benefit, right? And his main target are the children of Israel, right? So is this not called spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt? What was happening in Egypt, right? These devils were trying to, rather Pharaoh then was trying to get to stop. In fact, let me get it. They are lively. It says Exodus 1 and yeah, 1 and 16, right? It says, and he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Right? And why was that? Because they understand that the nation, right, which is once again more proof that and you are what your father is, right? So basically, Pharaoh was like, look, man, you gotta basically, take him off, right? Kill him, right? Let's see as well. Yeah, so I'll read from verse 9. From 7, it says, and the children of Israel were fruitful, right, and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, right, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph, and he said unto his people, behold, right, and this is those secret councils, right. You have individuals that don't want to believe us when we said these devils be having secret councils, and this is an example of one. It was happening back then, and you should be damn sure that it's happening now. And said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when they falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built Pharaoh treasure cities, and Python and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel, right? Ultimately, these different heathens may think that they've got some kind of control, but they don't. Okay, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is the one in control. Right, and then basically goes on to say, right, go back to the same Planned Parenthood article, right? It says side effects. The pill has health benefits, so side effects aren't always a bad thing, right? Oh, like for instance, what did they say? Because they try to say, what was this one? The blue pill, right? That was originally a heart thing, but the side effect was your ting, it ends up staying out long, right? But I wouldn't take that shit, because once again we understand what this man is, we understand what he does, right? So it says acne, bone thinning, cysts in your breasts and ovaries, two different types of cancers, etc., 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 PMS. And this is an interesting one, right? This is an interesting one, because he will give, and I've seen women say this before. It was like, I take the pill, right, not because I'm necessarily sexually active, but because I want to have, lighter periods, right? But it's once again when this first kind of came to mind, I remember a woman basically talking about red raspberry leaf tea, right, and basically saying how ever since she started taking it, right, her PMS basically ended up going down, all right, and one other woman even said that, hey, my basically my pregnancy was mad easy, giving birth was mad easy, right? She credited it to taking this. Now with everything with these herbs, right, you always got to be careful, right, because you get different people behave differently, regarding these herbs and everything. You got to do your due diligence, right? That's all I can say. But it allegedly does make women's periods be a lot better. And with all of these different things, right, it's just diet, right? But now I can get, this is Ecclesiastes, also known as Sirach 38 from the top. It says, honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which he may have of him. For the Lord hath created him. For of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king, right? Because with these things, you've got to pray, right? Taking these herbs, you've got to pray that the Most High gives you the benefit of those herbs. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. The Lord Yahweh hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. But Esau abhors them, but we understand that he is the basis of man. He is not wise. Okay? And then when what he does do is he takes the medicines from out the earth, then he bioengineers them, adds them with different, chemicals, right? So that he can put a patent on it. And then those things end up, making you more sick. And in fact, this is actually a good example, right? This is verse 5. I forget the wood, brothers have shown it, right? But it says, was not water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known? Right? But what does Esau do? He puts different chemicals in the water to quote unquote clean the water, right? You know which chemicals that we're talking about. Then it comes out that actually those chemicals are what do you call it? Aren't good, right? I forget, because I was getting some soil for my plants, right? And the woman at the store was basically talking, because where I live has hard water, right? So the woman at the store, she was basically like, yeah, man, you got to be careful if you're watering your plants with the tap water, right? Because basically when you get in the yellowing at the bottom, I forget exactly what she said, but you can look it up. Right? The yellowing at the bottom of the of like the stems, and so that's from caused by the fluoride in the water, right? So she was like, yeah, man, you'd be better off watering your plants with bottled water, okay? Which I do that every now and then anyway, but ever since she said that, I was like, hey, you know what, you're onto something, okay? Because we don't drink tap water, just drink the bottled stuff, which that has different issues, right? In that plastic, right? But that's why ultimately, we pray that the Lord comes back and delivers us from this place. Otherwise, no flesh shall be saved. Matthew 24:22. Okay. But yeah, so he will tell you, it can do this and that for you, but a good balanced diet, eating healthy, right, and ultimately leaving America, because yeah, man, you'll be seeing comparisons of like different food. The European version, it was Fanta, the European version of Fanta versus the English, the American version of Fanta, and it was like, bruv, like, why is it a completely different color? Chemicals and this, that, and the other. And someone was like, look, man, I drank some. I went to the States, drank some American Fanta, and yeah, you lot are drinking poison, right? But that's what it says in Ezekiel 4:13. Shall eat your bread defiled amongst the heathens. Okay. So what else? Because like I said, I've got quite a lot and really quite into it. Um, yeah. So now we say the negatives, if you will, right? And I think, what do you call it? Yeah. So it says, is it safe? Right. Esau will ask you, is it safe? But he says, don't take it for this and that reason, yada yada. Right. If you've had these things or whatever, then don't take this shit. Now we always say don't be taking any of this shit, man. Be trusting this devil, on this, on these things, right? So looked into this. This is from National Cancer Institute, NIH, right? And it basically says what is known. So breast cancer. This is analysis of more than 150,000 women who participated in 54 um, epidemiological studies showed that overall women who had ever used had a slight 7%, which the slight for me is less than 1%. 7% is quite a lot. So women who are currently using had a 24% increase in risk. Then it also says in this one, 27, a large prospective Danish study reported breast cancer associated with more recent formulations. Overall, women who are using or had recently stopped had a modest 20%, according to Esau's modest increase in the risk of breast cancer compared with women who had never used them. Right, it says the risk increase vary from 0 to 60% depending on the specific types, right? But then he will be like, oh yeah, but it goes up for breast cancer, but for ovarian cancer, it lowers the risk. And even now that because I looked into this data, because with the ESOL, you always got to look into the definitions. You always got to look into the amount of people in studies. Like you see it where they'll be like, 30% of users said they'll use it again, but they've only charged, read over 100 people, rather interviewed 100 people, whatever. Okay, and one thing that I observed here is that it doesn't actually tell you the amount of people were in these studies. And in the top one, it tells you how many people were in the studies, right? But in the bottom one, where it's saying that actually it lowers your risk, right? Then you it's not telling you, okay? So it says for these, so no, cervical cancer. Because I think actually that's what I had. So actually, cervical cancer is actually one of the ones that I had. I thought I'd looked up ovarian cancer, right? But yeah, basically, it still says that you got 30 to 50% lower risk. But then of the one that you're most likely gonna get, so it says each year in the U.S. about 240,000 cases of breast cancer diagnosed, right? And about 42,000 women will die from breast cancer, yet a slight increase, right? What did they say? 7% in one, and then a modest increase, 20% in another, right? And then I'll look at my other screen, and I'll change that to ovarian cancer, and I'll bring it over to this screen here. How do I do that? Move to another tab. There we go. Right, so about 19,000. Damn, this. I mean, fucking hell, this is a fucking. Yeah, if you get ovarian cancer, don't. You're basically gonna die. It looks like. That's fucked up. But yeah, that's your diet, man. There's several ways of getting over it, right? The videos have been done on this particular thing before, right? So let me just get because I'm almost done, so it's a bit longer than normal. Because there we go. All right, so taking the pill is convenient, right? So taking the birth control pill is easy, but remember to take it every day. Luckily, the pill pack says blah blah. It says the pill is birth control you don't have to think about during sex, right? Because that's basically all that they care about, right? They market it as a thing of pleasure. Just do as you will, just feel good, right? But that is the doctrine of witchcraft, right? Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt, right? But there is order, and that's one of the things that Esau pushes, which is disorder, right? The scriptures say this. Let me see. I'll just jump straight to the point. 1 Timothy 5:14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give a non-occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully, because that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? You're supposed to be doing, not be going around gathering abroad, right? Being a hoe, right? Which ultimately, once again, that's one of the things that the pill does. And then what's happening now is that these women, after they've just had, they've ridden the carousel, right, feeling bad, you're feeling like, feeling through, because that's not how you were designed. Men were designed to be able to have loads of different women, right? Women were not designed for that. Okay, that is one of the benefits of being a man. Right, a woman, once she loses her virginity, that is her man for the rest of her life. And in the kingdom, when we're living forever, that is your man for the rest of eternity. You will never see and sleep with another man ever again. Okay, this is Sirach 26 and 10 in the GNT. Says, if your daughter is determined to have her own way, right, keep a close watch on her. You got a stubborn daughter, right? You got to keep a close eye on her, man. It says, if you don't, she will take advantage any chance she gets, right? If she's too self-willed, be on guard and don't be surprised if she disappoints you. Right, she will spread her legs anywhere for any man who wants her, just as a thirsty traveler will drink water, whatever water is available. Basically, meaning she gonna be a hoe, right? And this is it. With these teen dramas, what do they push? They push rebellion, right? They push rebellion, but the scriptures, for instance, speaks about the rebellious son, right? Basically, you had a rebellious son. You had the authority, to take him out. Right, and what will that do? That will put fear into anyone else that was trying to be rebellious, right? But that's effectively what, what E is pushing with these different things, right? With these different, pills and contraception and abortion. It's just pushing debauchery. It's pushing, just going around and having sex with whoever you want, right? And you have certain women that will straight up say it joking, yeah, you get me pregnant, fuck, I'll just kill the baby, right? Just that crassness, because you get certain ones that won't that get pissed off when they talk about, when you say, oh, you're gonna kill the baby, right? But you get certain ones that they're just so brazen, they're like, fuck, I don't care, I'll kill the baby. And that's the world that we live in, right? And don't be mistaken, all of those individuals that do that, right, there's judgment to pay for that, okay, right? Because it's not your life to take. Right, so as always, Lord's Will, that was edifying. It's a bit longer, but like I said, you can look at this from so many different angles. This particular issue, right? But ultimately, goes back to this devil basically wanting to have control, right? Of the people, and to cut down the population, right, and to separate the households and stuff like that. Right, it's all about destruction. Okay, but so as always, what I was edifying. Until next time, we say shalom.